Today we're going to inscribe a square inside a circle. I have drawn circle P with diameter XY. And of course that means we have radius PX and radius PY. You know, a diameter connects 2 points on the circle that goes through the center of the circle. Now, we've done a construction before called a perpendicular bisector, and that's what we need to do right now. We're going to construct a perpendicular bisector of line segment XY. To do that, I take my compass and I open it wider than my radius, and I'm going to put my point at point Y. Point over here at point Y. It's hard to see this sometimes to get it exactly in the right place. And I want to cut arcs above. Whoops, and I just moved it. How did I manage to do that? I want to cut arcs above and below point P. I'm going to do the same thing from point X. I'm going to put my point at X, my compass point at X, and I'm going to cut an arc above and below point P. Now I think I need to go back and do it again for point Y because they don't really intersect, and I want these to intersect. So I'm not sure. Something is bending on my compass. I'm not sure what it is. I'm going to have to check out and see why my compass is not staying open. Okay, that's the arcs from this side. And now let's do the arcs again from this side to make sure that my arcs intersect. So it was actually, these are the points that I needed. I'm not sure why. I'm going to have to check out my compass and see why there was some slippage. But we know that two lines intersect in a point, and we know that 2 points determine a line. And if I have constructed this correctly, when I connect these 2 points, they will go through point P. Let me turn it so I can see. This will go through point P as well as my 2 new points. And I will draw another diameter. Now when I've done that, this becomes a perpendicular bisector. We know all of these radii are congruent. I can mark them all congruent. We know all of these angles are right angles. We know all of these arcs are 90-degree arcs. But at this point, I'm going to label this as AB. So I have constructed AB, line segment AB, perpendicular to line segment XY. And it's not just perpendicular, but it's a perpendicular bisector. Now I'm going to connect points going around the circle. I'm going to connect A to X, point A to point X, I'm going to connect point X to point B, again, I hope I'm seeing this correctly because I'm having to look at this as a funny angle. I'm going to connect point B to point Y. Oh, I didn't do that very good. Let's go back, put point Y here. And I'm going to erase this mark because I know that one is not correct. So I'll erase it and I'll try again from point Y to point B. And then from point A to point Y. Now, I know something about these angles. This angle is an inscribed angle, so it's half of that arc, or 45. This angle is an inscribed angle. It's half of this arc, or 45. So that means this is a 90-degree angle. And if I go around checking every angle, every arc, all of these will be right angles. So when you have a quadrilateral with 4 right angles, you know that you have a quadrilateral that is at least a rectangle. But I wanted to inscribe a square. So to be a square, not only do these angles have to be all right angles, but these sides have to all be congruent. Now, each one of these sides cuts an arc that's 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees. And you have a rule that tells you that congruent arcs of a circle have congruent segments. So I can mark each one of these sides congruent. And we have constructed square AYBX, or you can name it square AXBY as long as you're going around the square. Now we can check some of this. We can check measurements if you want to. We could actually measure the sides. The side is not quite 7 centimeters. This side is not quite 7 centimeters. They're very close. I'm not going to be as exact. It's not quite 7. Looks like almost 7 centimeters. We line up our ruler correctly. It's 7 centimeters. So they all appear to be 7 centimeters in length. Now we can take our protractor. We can measure our angles just to check to be sure. Are these right angles? And when we line them up, 90 degrees. When I line this one up, 90 degrees. And when you construct yours, you can check your constructions with your protractor and with a ruler. But you don't construct with a protractor and a ruler. So there we have a square that is inscribed inside a circle.